Dubrovnik is one of those cruise ports that looks absolutely incredible in photos. Walled old town, dramatic coastline, turquoise water, and a skyline that feels almost unreal. But it's also a port that can feel far more intense than people expect, especially on a busy cruise day. Transport from the port, heat, crowds, and a lot of walking can shape your experience very quickly if you're not prepared. I've been to Dubrovnik several times, and it's a place that rewards good planning. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 10 things you genuinely need to know before you step off the ship in Dubrovnik. The first thing to understand about Dubrovnik is that most cruise ships do not dock near the old town. Large ships usually arrive at Port Gruž, which is around 3 kilometers from the historic center. It doesn't sound far, but it's not walkable on a cruise day, especially in the heat and with hills along the way. Smaller ships may tender closer to the old town, but for most people, Port Gruž is where the day begins. That single detail affects everything else. Transport, timing, crowds, and how relaxed your day feels all depend on understanding this before you leave the ship. The next thing to think about is how you actually get into Dubrovnik Old Town. Most cruise lines provide shuttle buses, usually dropping passengers near Pilegate. They're easy and straightforward, but they can queue later in the day, especially when multiple ships are in port. There's also the local Libertas bus, which is cheaper and reliable, but can be busy. It's a good option if you're comfortable with public transport and not in a rush. One of the biggest surprises in Dubrovnik is just how quickly the old town fills up once cruise passengers start arriving. Dubrovnik is beautiful, but it is not a quiet port. Almost everyone arriving by cruise ship is heading to the same place, at roughly the same time, through the same gates. By late morning, the old town can feel extremely busy, especially in peak season. The streets are narrow, the stone reflects heat, and shade can be limited. It's still worth visiting, but it really helps to set expectations before you arrive. Starting early, pacing yourself, and stepping away from the main routes makes a huge difference to how enjoyable the day feels. The key to enjoying Dubrovnik isn't trying to see everything. It's knowing how to move through the old town without exhausting yourself or getting stuck in the busiest areas. Once you come through Pilegate, you'll naturally find yourself on Stradun, the main street that runs straight through the old town. It's impressive, it's wide, and it's where most people instinctively stay. I'd use it as a reference point, rather than your main route. Some of the best parts of Dubrovnik are just a street or two away. As soon as you step off Stradun into the side streets, things feel noticeably calmer. You'll find smaller squares, shaded corners, tucked-away cafes, and buildings that feel very different to the main thoroughfare. One of the first landmarks you'll see near Pilegate is Onofrio's fountain. It's not just historic, it's also a really useful pause point to get your bearings before heading deeper into the old town. A simple way to explore is to let yourself wander for 10 or 15 minutes without a fixed plan. Dubrovnik's old town is compact, and you can't really get lost for long. The streets naturally loop back towards Stradun, or one of the gates, which makes exploring feel low stress even on a busy day. If it's your first time in Dubrovnik, this is also where a walking tour with a local guide can really help. Good guides know how to move between sites using quieter routes, which can completely change how busy the old town feels. The city walls are one of Dubrovnik's most famous sights, but on a cruise day, they're also one of the most physically demanding choices you can make. Walking the city walls is one of Dubrovnik's most famous experiences, and the views really are stunning. But this is not something to do lightly on a cruise day. The walk is one way. It takes time, there's very little shade, and once you're up there, you can't easily get down partway through and rejoin later. If it's busy, hot, or you're already tired, it can feel intense very quickly. If you're fit, well prepared, and happy to commit the time, it can be brilliant. Starting early, carrying water, and being honest about your energy levels makes a big difference to how enjoyable it feels. Dubrovnik is closely linked with Game of Thrones, and you'll see references to it everywhere. If you're a fan, there are guided tours that work well, especially if it's your first visit. They're structured, informative, and take you through quieter routes between locations. If you're not particularly interested, you don't need to build your day around it. The old town stands on its own, without the TV connection, and you won't miss out by skipping the themed tours. It's one of those things that's nice to include if it matters to you, but very easy to ignore if it doesn't. The cable car up Mount Surd is one of the most popular things to do in Dubrovnik, and for good reason. The views over the old town, the coastline, and the Adriatic are genuinely spectacular. The challenge on a cruise day is timing. By late morning, queues can build quickly as tour groups and cruise passengers arrive, and what looks like a quick activity can suddenly take much longer than expected. If the cable car is high on your list, it's best done earlier in the day before the crowds peak. Once you're at the top, it's easy to underestimate how long you'll spend there. Between photos, walking around, and possibly stopping for a drink, this can easily turn into an hour or more, which is fine, as long as you've planned for it. It's also worth knowing that the cable car is weather dependent. On very windy or busy days, operations can slow or pause, so it's not something to leave until the last minute. If you're choosing between the cable car and another activity, think about how much walking you've already done. The cable car is visually rewarding, without being physically demanding, which can make it a good balance on a hot day. One of the nicest and often calmer ways to see Dubrovnik is from the water. Boat tours from the marina let you see the city walls from the sea, which gives you a completely different perspective without the crowds or constant walking. Kayaking is another popular option and works well as either a ship excursion or something booked independently through providers like Get Your Guide or Viator. These options are especially good if you want something active but less intense than walking the walls in the heat. Dubrovnik's heat, stone streets, and food pricing can catch people out if they're not prepared. Dubrovnik gets hot, and the stone streets reflect that heat straight back at you. Comfortable shoes, a hat, and plenty of water aren't optional here. They're essential. When it comes to food, prices rise sharply the closer you are to the busiest streets. Heading just a few streets back often means better value and a more relaxed experience. You'll also notice a lot of gelato shops around the old town, which are perfect for a quick break when the heat kicks in. The final thing to know about Dubrovnik is that you need to plan your return carefully. Because the port isn't right next to the old town, getting back involves transport, queues, and timing cutoffs. Later in the afternoon, shuttles and buses can back up quickly, especially on busy cruise days. I'd always aim to head back earlier and remove the stress. Dubrovnik is not the place to push your luck with last-minute returns. So now you know exactly how Dubrovnik works as a cruise port, and how to enjoy it without letting the crowds and logistics take over your day. Dubrovnik is all about transport and timing. Kotor looks simpler, but the tender boats can make or break your day. Watch my Kotor Cruise Port guide next. It's on screen now.